Of course, there's lots of good stuff in the sex lives of the US presidents. There's a gay one like James Buchanan, whose vice president was called Mrs. Vice President. Then there's JFK, who has a terrific reputation as a ladies' man, sleeping with Marilyn and lots of other beautiful women. In fact, the actress Angie Dickinson said sleeping with JFK was the best 20 seconds of her life. However, it must be remembered that Lyndon Johnson said of Kennedy, I had more women by accident than Kennedy had on purpose. And Johnson only came to power because of Kennedy's predilections. That during World War II, at the beginning of World War II, John F. Kennedy was in naval intelligence in Washington, and he was having an affair with a Danish beauty queen, Ingrid Arvid, who had reputedly been a mistress of Hitler. And the FBI was obviously keeping tracks on her, and they bugged the Baltimore hotel room where they were making love. When this came out, of course, the Navy tried to cashier John F. Kennedy, but his father, Joe, had a terrific influence in Washington and managed to get JFK transferred to the Pacific, where he became a hero, which led to his great career as president. However, Johnson lived next door to the FBI head, J. Edgar Hoover, in Washington, and used to borrow FBI files for a bit of like bedtime reading, which is how he, when he was in the Senate, how he could control the floor of the Senate. In the 1960 convention, Democratic convention in Los Angeles, when JFK got the nomination, Lyndon Johnson wasn't on the ticket as vice president. Johnson went to Kennedy and said to him, look, if you don't put me on the ticket, I'll lose you your clean living image, and I'll lose you the Jewish vote. I mean, it was only 15 years since the end of the war. JFK said, well, look, I'm only 43 years old. I'm not going to die in office. What's the big deal with being vice president? And Johnson said, I've done some research. 1 in 4 presidents die in office. It's the only chance I've got. And he was right. The one I thought I would never get anything on at all, of course, was Nixon. He always didn't look like a particularly sexy man. However, he was a great fan of striptease and used to take his wife along to strip bars. But the real nice story about him is this. When he was out of office, he was filmed by British intelligence in Hong Kong through a hotel window using an infrared camera, having sex with a Chinese woman who was suspected, this is the excuse for filming this incident, that it was suspected that she was a communist agent. And when Nixon became president, she turned up living in San Clemente near to his California home. So Nixon really did open China. Next came sex lives of the great dictators. Now, you might not think this is a barrel of laugh like the other books, but unless, of course, you think that it's funny to say, in a rather kind of modern celebrity way, you know, here's Adolf Hitler. He killed 6 million Jews, responsible for the death of what, 60 million people in World War II. But what was he like in bed? Well, actually, not very good. 5 of his lovers committed suicide. Now, how bad do you have to be in bed for 5 of your lovers to commit suicide? The truth was, about this book is, and the reason I wanted to do it, was that there were lots of people, especially in Central Europe, but some people in Britain and America too, who still admire Hitler being a strong leader and full of tough political will. But if you know what he's like in the bedroom, you wouldn't admire him at all. What he liked to do was lie on the floor and have his lovers kick and beat him. Then he liked them to squat over his face and piss and shit on him. No wonder they killed themselves. But the communists were a bit more fun. Lenin returned to Russia in the closed train across Germany to Finland Station in 1917 with his wife and two of his mistresses on board. One of them went on to become a mistress of Benito Mussolini in Italy. He was another guy a bit like JFK, who it was all wham bam, thank you ma'am, but he liked to play the violin to them afterwards, which kept him sweet. But probably one of the greatest lovers of all among the dictators was Mao Zedong. He used to fill the Olympic-sized swimming pool in the Forbidden City full of naked 18-year-old girls and go for a dip. It's better than anything I've ever come up for a Saturday night. He had a huge collection of pornography, like ancient Chinese emperors, which he fancied himself to be. He figured that the more women you went to bed with, the longer you lived, and if you deflowered 1,000 virgins, you lived forever. Works for me. Kim Il-sung and his father, Kim Jong-Il, set up Korea, the Communist Party there, simply to procure young women for them who were joined together in what they could call pleasure teams, just for the fun and games.